Okay, so welcome to episode 43 of the Squat Plug. In today's episode, we are joined by Daurio, the technical manager of the USAPL. Um, he's one of the people who's instrumental in running nationals. He runs Northeast regionals. We'll be running Southeast regionals this year as well, and does a phenomenal job at the New York State Championships as well. Jan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So, how are you feeling right now, gearing up for Southeast regionals?
Well, during our pre-taping, I alluded that I'm like, every time you run a big event, it's always stressful, and you make sure that you got enough medals, and you got the right amount of people. I'm stressed. I've got a 12-hour drive on Thursday because I'm actually driving down because I'm gonna have a car full of stuff. Um, but it basically it's all in my head because I know that I'm prepared. I know I've got the right people doing the right jobs, but if in your daily lives you're always going to have that stress factor of something, I just like to go over the top and want to make sure that everybody that competes on that platform that we provide has a great meet, and that's the end all goal. So I will be stressed until the last deadlift hits the floor, and then put it all back in the truck and go home.
So, what are some special considerations you need to have for this particular meet that you've never encountered before? Like, what's new here?
Well, this will be the first time we're running it in an actual arena. I don't even think that USA Powerlifting has run an event in an arena. So this is a 10,000 ish seat arena, and it's a beautiful facility, literally plunked in the middle of like kind of nowhere. But it's Florence has got a lot of cool things to do. Um, the the parking lot is absolutely enormous. There's a bunch of hotels around, but the production will be a little bit different simply just because, we can't have the mood lighting down and all that. We could do our best to provide that kind of stage, but it won't be of the same look that we had at Northeast or, whatnot. Just simply just because the size of this, it's huge. But I think it'll be fine. It'll be new for everybody. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay, and you had, I think it was like a 300 member sign up for this. What are we looking at
Yeah,
right now?
we put a cap on it at 300 and we hit it. It took a little bit longer than I thought. I know that Josh and some of the people in the Southeast states were kind of pushing to kind of get people to sign up. But I mean, unlike Northeast where it filled to 400 in a matter of 3 weeks, and then we added another 100 lifters, and that filled up in like, I don't know, another week. So it was kind of crazy. We could just kept going. We actually had people competing at this meet. There's 12 of them that are from Northeast states because they couldn't get in. Now they already know they got to be a guest lifter, but they just wanted to come and compete at regionals. So this is the goal of that type of meet, right? The goal with regionals is to give that experience to those athletes that potentially can't make it to nationals, and you give them that same type of look and feel and experience with the referees, put quality referees on the platforms and all of that so that, they don't feel like they're missing something sitting in the spectator stands at nationals. And I think if others would adopt that kind of methodology in running regionals, it can be that staple event that people can look for and you can make it like not an unobtainium, but something where you literally you have to earn your way in there. So that's kind of that's kind of how I envision what we should be doing with the regionals. And we're getting there. It's just it's like the wheels of government. It just moves really slow.
Understood. I've been definitely getting a chance, I guess, to see how things have been evolving on your end over here between New York State Championships and then seeing the spill over into regionals and watching both of those advance, and also seeing a corresponding effect, I guess, with the USAPL nationals as well. And I know, that I guess, you're instrumental behind the scenes and as to what takes place there. And bro, it's been working, man. I want to say it's the smoothest, most well polished meets we're gonna have in our region over here. I want to see some of the smoothest meets I've ever like seen in my entire life as a lifter and as a coach. So much credit to you. I wish other people, I guess, were on point with that. Like as much as you are. I think maybe, I guess, you also have a chance to maybe impart your skills, like to other people if they want to listen, if they want to learn from you and whatnot, because I think they'd be doing themselves quite a bit of a favor. From learning, I guess, like how to develop the cohesion behind the scenes to production, so on and so forth. I think a lot of people, I guess, could benefit quite a bit by what you have to say. I'm legitimately impressed by what I see every single time I show up to one of your meets and whatnot. We see that stuff happening. And then I go to
Well,
other meets where that doesn't happen, and then I see just things are just
yeah, the
disjunct.
effect. I think here, this is 10 years we've been running events, but only 8 years with USA Powerlifting. We ran some unsanctioned things before 2017 was the first year that we dropped a sanction in a bucket and said, let's go. And that meet was really small. And it was, if you would take the size of like a normal kitchen, dining room, living room, and put it together and open it up and stick a rig in the middle of it, that was the gym. And it was like people everywhere. And the warm up area was in the spectator area. It was not what we do now. And, you have to, I told myself from that day that I wanted to do every meet that we did, I wanted to make it a better experience. And I mean, you're never going to see pyro at my meets. I don't care about it. You strobe lights, don't care about it. Will you see lights? Absolutely. Because I think you want the focus on the athlete. That's where the focus should be. The other thing is like surrounding yourself with good people is always a good thing. Having Alyssa be my technical secretary at Northeast, and it was like her first kind of, not her, well, it wasn't her first gig doing it, but it was her first big four platform meet, right? She's never done a four platform event, and scheduling 65 referees is a lot. It's a daunting task.
We're talking about Alyssa
And
Orlando, correct?
yeah, Alyssa Orlando.
Nice.
And I basically let Harrison Caton, who works for me at USA Powerlifting, I let him do he was me, right? He was the technical manager of the meet. He would take care of, you probably saw him out there flying around fixing when a TV would go down or whatever, if people were hammering the bars on the ground. But it's one of those things where you put good people in the places that they thrive, and you wind up with me sitting in the back watching a 55-inch TV with NFL Sunday Ticket on and watching football because I didn't have to worry. That's what I was doing. I didn't have to worry about issues at the meet. And yeah, we had a couple issues come up, right? And we took care of them, and we just learned to deal with problems at hand. So, like I alluded to when we started talking about this, is like I want to make sure that I always do better as a meet director. I'm not going to do this forever. It's tiring, sometimes loading the truck by myself, and I've got a crew of people, but not everybody can take an afternoon off and come help me. So, I'm loading the Penske up and just I'm out there sweating my ass off. I'll you got to do what you got to do. And at the end of the day, it's always about the lifters. It's always about the lifters. So I don't know what the future is going to hold. I do know next year that I'm going to kind of take a step back and not run as many events. We've run 10 events every year for the last couple of years, and um, the like the cherry on the top of this year is we're running IDFPA Bench Worlds on the same weekend and in the same building as the Ivy League Cup and the Collegiate Cup Series. We have the entire building for that weekend for 3 days. So that's going to be fun. 3 meets in 3 days in the same building. But you know what? Then I can say that I did it.
Well, I mean, you're definitely doing it. Like shit is getting done. You guys are doing a phenomenal job of it as well. It's quite daunting, and I know the way you operate. People aren't aware, but you're there the week of for the most part, and you're up like all hours of the night, making sure everything's squared away. Like you really put into put your effort into the prep work. And that's the best way to prevent many of the issues that take place from taking place. I know at last nationals we had the issue with the actual power outage that took place one, and still you guys kept chugging ahead. Yeah, kept chugging on power. Like I remember just like driving around, and as I'm heading over to Target, I remember I just heard I look over. It's like fucking smoke coming out of the middle of the street where a transformer vault had blown up with lightning hitting it.
Yeah, actually, like he did in a transformer. That's what happened with the power. Yeah, that was
I think I saw the actual transformer that was hit.
what's even more ironic is the year before that we had collegiate nationals there, and the power went out then as well. So we were joking, right? We were joking when we were setting up, like, what day is the power going to go out here? Because we all knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know when. And then when I don't know if somebody came and showed me their phone, they're like, look at the rain coming. And it was like red. This is not going to be good. is weird in an area that is so like easy to just knock it out. Yeah, so no lights, no AC, so it was hot, it was dark. But I mean, we made it through. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but I really, really felt bad for the primetime session that it really affected simply because they didn't get the actual show. And I felt bad for them, but like the show must go on,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. That's true.
because we had to do it the next day and the next day and the next day, you know?
Bro, it was raining every single last one of those days. Like that was
Yeah.
some biblical weather.
And
Yes,
where
it
where
was.
was this again?
Georgia,
LA.
bro.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Holy crap.
waiting for Noah's Ark to show up and start grabbing animals two at a time, like, let's go.
I'm like talking to like taxi drivers, like, bro. Like, is this what happens in Georgia? Is this how you guys have the weather over here? He's like, oh man, I never seen nothing like this. I'm like, all right.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's not Florida where you get rain, like it just rains a monsoon for like 30 minutes and then it's like 150% humidity. No, this was just a 4-day onslaught of just
Yeah.
crappy weather. And it
Crazy.
was whatever, it is what it is.
And it's still phenomenal meet. Had a blast out over there. Very, very well run. Hiccups aside, all that kind of stuff. You guys like got past it, I guess, and you delivered. Over, I want to say is how many lifters were at USAPL Nationals this year? Like 1,000 something that range.
We started with a little bit over 1,000. We wound up with like 860 or 870 something. I forget what the number is.
And still with all those
Like
people
the
at the
ruling number recently. I'm hoping that the change with the QTs does something. Because I mean, we could definitely hit our cap, and I think now that I mean we're not going anywhere, right? USA Powerlifting is not going anywhere, and we still, I think, hold our national events at the next level, even like collegiate. And I mean, we kind of did. Let's see, what did we? Oh, so for like equipped bench and youth, I mean, we that was even though that was a one platform event, it was in a large space, and we made it feel homey, and we gave the athletes an actual platform stage to do their lifting on. So that's the end goal. It's always the end goal.
So Northeast Regionals also did take place recently. Very well run meet. I enjoyed it and whatnot. What's something you did different here that you did last year at Northeast Regionals? What was your
Wait,
goal this
ask
time
that
around?
question again. Ask that
So
question again.
so we had Northeast Regionals this past year, right? A couple weeks ago. What did you do different this year than you did last year? Like what was your goal this year, if I'm asking? Like how well did you execute it?
So I ran it in 23 last year. It was up in Maine. But my goal was
Yes, I'm sorry, that's correct. Last time
yeah,
you ran Northeast Regionals was 2023.
right. So my goal was to always move the meet upstairs. So to bring it in the 22,000 square feet space that we have upstairs at Cap Center, and then ultimately was I didn't start out wanting to run 4 platforms. It was always going to be 3 with like a 400 lifter cap. And in how fast it filled up, I said to myself, I'm like, this is going to fill up pretty quickly. Do I want to think about running a national style meet? 4 platforms, all the judges, and I'm doing the math in my head. Like, does it financially make sense to add another set of platform officials and so on and so forth for 4 days? That means more hotel rooms, and it just, the list goes on and on. The awards, drug test fees, and like I said, we could talk all day about the whys of why it would be a great idea. And the thing that I wanted to do different was to legitimately bring that Raw Nationals look to Northeast Regionals and minus prime time. I don't think prime time belongs in regionals at all because it's not the meet for that. I wanted the people that have never been to nationals feel like, holy shit, that was the best meet I've ever competed in my life. And and we're starting to see the like the return on investment there because I've actually had people reach out to me through Instagram like, hey, I'm not a New York resident, but can I come to compete in New York State in the New York State Championships? I'm like, you can, but you need to be a guest lifter. Like, okay, that's fine. They just want to come and compete. So I think that says that what we're doing is we're doing the right thing. I will say that in 26, the New York State Championship is going to turn a little bit simply because, like I told both of you, I'm never really satisfied with doing something like I always want to do bigger. Where we now turn this thing into an actual sports expo So it's going to be included in the Empire State Strength and Fitness Expo. So we're going to have USA Powerlifting on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to have CrossFit on Saturday, Sunday. We're going to have Strongman on Saturday. We're going to have Jiu-Jitsu on Sunday. We're going to have an esports area, and we're going to have all of the vendors and whatnot are going to be downstairs. So, we won't be able to do like the big show that we normally like to do for states, but I think having it it makes it's like a mini Arnold, right? So I mean, you guys have been in the Arnold, so you know that it's now that we're in the expo hall at the Arnold, we're the feature right now, and we have a huge and when you're at the Arnold and you're watching the Raw Challenge on Saturday, and the 900 seats in the stands are full, and it's standing room only around the platforms, there's probably 1,500 people that are watching that meet that aren't going out and getting free shit from all the vendors. You know, so that's huge, and that's kind of what I wanted to do here. Is I wanted to that my business partner, he owns a supplement store. So we're like, let's partner up together. You bring in the vendors, I'll bring in the sports. So we're gonna try it, and we're gonna see if we can make it work. And maybe what I'll do then is, if I can make that work, we might pull New York State's out of that. We'll run a meet there, but New York State's will go and still be its own thing. Just because we'd already started planning it when I already had the date set. So it just kind of went hand in hand. But that's
As a vendor, I would love to see that. I mean, the more people, the merrier for us. As people
yeah,
milling about the table,
That was my
yeah,
first thought when you said that.
like
yep.
legitimately, like we killed it at regionals. We had a record year this year out there every single day. Phenomenal performance. Just the amount of people you brought out there, like 500. Like we're supposed to be, ended up like at 400 if memory serves correctly.
It was
And that was
460, I think. No,
and
I'm
that
sorry, 410 at the end of the day.
Yeah, with 410, just the amount of action at the table, like every single day. I
yeah,
think how many pairs of shoes did we end up giving away? Like 16 pairs of white toes.
something like that.
Yeah, which is reflective of just like how much we made in sales. Also, we killed it.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
yeah.
Had a great
I
time.
can only imagine how much better we'd do with the whole expo going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm a very big fan of you doing this, having as many people show up to these meets as possible. If you want to increase the cap to about 2,000, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Whoa, whoa. So I think one of the we've there's been some people that have tried running a similar thing, but they haven't really included any strength sports, and I think that's a negative, because those events are going to bring people to your thing. So, you have a captive audience right now, right? And ultimately, they were basically making money off of the vendor. So I don't know what they were charging for tables, but I heard it was way too much. So we don't want to do that. We know that you're there, you're going to give away product, not all of it, but you're still there to make money, but we don't want to gouge the vendor. We want to be vendor friendly and give you a space at a moderate dollar amount, and just fill it up with vendors and just have a bunch of different things there. If Rain or Monster wants to come in and give away free product, we'll give them your booth for free. We don't care. It's just, you can have it. You're going to hand out,
I,
here's your Monster, here's your Rain, whatever.
I
Rain was
gotta say,
at
it was great seeing Ben and Jerry's out there this year.
So that that was a buddy of mine owns a store up in Saratoga Springs, and I'm thinking, like, what kind of random thing could we have there that I've never seen at a powerlifting meet before? I'm like, ice
Ben
cream.
and Jerry's.
So I I just texted him like, hey, would you be interested in bringing your cart to an event at the Cap Center? He goes, I'm down there all the time. Absolutely. He goes, how much? I told him. He goes, great. Send me the link. I'll pay it right now. And I texted him after, and I asked him, like, how'd you do? He goes, we didn't crush it, but I don't think we brought enough stuff. And I always have a number in my head. This is him talking. I always have a number in my head, how much money I think that we should generate in a day. And we broke that, but not by a lot. So I'm happy. And then I told him what we're doing in March of next year. He goes, I'm definitely in for that. He goes, I said, you know, take what you saw on spectators now and quadruple it. I mean, we had 360 chairs in that area upstairs, and there was sometimes when it was standing room only. and there was people everywhere all the time. So, and usually what happens on Sunday, people don't come, they go home. It was busier on Sunday afternoon than I think the entire weekend, which is crazy to me, but I get it because people are probably waiting for like the best lifter awards and all that. But that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, it worked out very, very well. Like, legitimately, I mean, I love what I saw. Like, the meet was run very well, and this is coming from some the perspective of, I guess, like a coach as well. So I was behind the scenes. It was, I want to say, the only, if you want to call it issue, and I don't really think it's an issue because we had enough time to do it and whatnot, was like it's just traveling from downstairs to upstairs to make that happen. Maybe I guess like have like some signs and that kind of stuff for some of the people I guess to see where to go. So I had some lifters basically who did not go in the most effective manners to the platform, and I myself, the first time getting up there, I found myself behind the technical area. I don't know if you recall.
Yeah. And like, how the hell did you get back here?
I was wondering the same thing. I thought this is the way
So
there.
here's the deal, and here's why we did that. When I first went and I did the walkthrough with the event coordinator, and we started talking about where do you want to hold this thing, I said we're going to do it all upstairs because at the time I only had upstairs. There was supposed to be things going on downstairs when we were there, and I told them like probably not a good idea. They were going to have some boutique clothing thing going on. Like, what's going to happen when deadlifts start, right? It's going to get loud. It's going to start. It's going to sound like we're coming through the floor. And they said we told them exactly what is going to happen, and they are still on board. Granted, they haven't really put a deposit down yet. I said, okay, that's fine. I kind of, you know, bit my tongue and walked away. When we got like 2 months out, they reached back out and said, all right, the people they pulled out. Like, cool. Do you want the entire building? I'm like, yeah, but at what cost? And they told me, and it was ridiculously low. And I said, well, yes, send me the contract. I'll sign the addendum, and we're done. So we locked in for the whole building. And I went round and round with, do we want to put 10 warm up racks upstairs behind the platforms? And you have, I mean, any given session, there was, 60 lifters, or more, and then you have coaches on top of that and personnel on top of that and equipment and all of the lifter shit and chairs. You were back there. There was a lot of room to sit, and you could have run a marathon in there in the back if you wanted to in circles. And I did that purposely because I didn't want to have people tripping over each other in the way, hogging racks, which I is always going to happen no matter what. And I think I think that was the right call. I did what I could to give the lifters the information that they needed. We have lifting cast on downstairs. We had the live stream on downstairs. I mean, we actually wirelessly transmitted it. I don't know if you saw, we had wireless transmitters out to the escalator and then downstairs so that the other wireless transmitters could pick it up. That was just simply so that we could pass the information from the live stream cameras right in there. So they're getting a live view, not the actual YouTube stream. So we wanted to make sure that we give them the proper amount of time to get ready. I somewhat stayed in contact with some people that were in warm up room saying, all right, flight A's, they've started their third attempts. Flight B, get your ass upstairs. I don't know if that was happening or not. Could we have done better there? Signage is easy. You know,
I think
I
that's
think,
probably I guess one of the opportunities that would present itself there, which is better communication along that line. With
yep,
the four different platforms running at different times, it did make things a little bit. I want to say the timing kind of changed back there. Also for warming up, it was at times a bit inconvenient when your lifter's about like like I don't know, I want to say like 3 or 4 people out, whatnot, and then all of a sudden somebody shows up and says, oh, by the way, I got to do this, got to do that, and the platform's not lifting for another 20, 30 lifters, or vice versa. You find yourself in that situation. You have a cadence going, then somebody joins in, and now you have to load up 4 reds for the last squat warm up as they're getting ready to go up there. I don't know. I mean, like, it's easy to pick things apart and so on and so forth. I really liked what I saw, like overall. I think maybe that's an opportunity there. I don't know how to correct
I have
that,
a
but
solution for that.
what do you got?
And I think this is maybe what Mark was going to say is we've done this at States is we are going to assign rack. We're gonna have rack assignments for big meets. We don't do it at nationals because I don't know why, but I think maybe something that we should start doing. but I think it makes more sense specifically when you have, something could happen on a platform and you're going to stop it for 5 minutes. And next thing you know, you're 15 minutes behind another platform. Just like that. You know, if the spotting and loading team is just, they're not with it, that the cadence gets thrown off and then, and that platform just starts slowing down. And as those you may have saw, we actually started swapping some spotting and loading people out because we needed to just get different people in there to kind of motivate them. So I think the right answer on anything that we run that's going to be multiple platforms, you're going to get a rack. You're going to get a warm up rack assigned to you
I think it's
specifically
the
to
move.
keep, yeah, specifically to
Yeah.
keep platform one people with platform one, two, yada yada yada. Because when I want to go warm up with my buddy. Well, they're on platform one. You're on platform four. If platform four is behind and you don't have all your warms up, you're gonna not do great on your first attempt. So as a lifter, I would want to be warming up with people that are competing on my platform. That's me. Not everybody's going to want to do that, and that onus goes on the lifter, to do that. But I think if we run anything more than one platform, you're always going to get a platform assignment.
I look forward to it. I mean, just to make sense, it's like imagine the priority here is to make sure the lifters are lifting the same platform, warming up the same platform. The next one here is that it's roughly the same weight range. The third one probably be, I guess, like roughly the same rack height range.
Yeah.
So you have like
I mean, even if it's not like the same weight range, if people are, there's big discrepancies in strength, like that's the point of having a combo rack. And if you have some knowledgeable and experienced coaches, it's easy to just do, increase you find, who's lifting what for next warm up. Okay, we're going to start with you're lifting the lightest load. We're going to start with you're lifting the heaviest, and then we're just going to run it like that.
That's also a big if though. I remember at nationals recently.
I know it's a big if. I
Bro,
mean, I've had people come up to me like, "Hey, do you mind if I warm up with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I don't even know the kilos. I've never used a combo rack." And you're just like, "Fuck, here we go."
yeah, I know. Yeah, I've had two.
But that was the biggest discrepancy was like, you'd get a warm up rack and then it was, people from all different platforms. And then once the platforms start to run at different times, it was like, you'd come down and you'd be like, can I, especially between lifts, like, okay, now I got to get the bench in here. And they're like, I'm still warming up for squats. And you're like, oh my God, like, I don't have much time. I'm like, I'm starting lifters warm ups like super late. Cause like, from downstairs to upstairs, it takes 30 seconds to get there. That wasn't the issue. The issue was like, yeah, the discrepancy between platform times and starting and finishing between
Yes,
lifts.
yes.
Yeah, but I loved what you did with New York States with the assigned platforms. I think that was great.
It preempted a whole lot of chaos. I
Yeah.
do think that many coaches out there need to get their shit together. To be honest,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
of the coaches I see back there have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Get your shit together.
Like, get your knife head, get your shit together, coaches. Like, if you're at nationals, you're operating there, and your lifter's got 18 fucking warm ups, there's a problem there.
That's 15 too many.
But if you are standing by, like, listlessly as their coach at nationals, maybe
Yeah.
you shouldn't be fucking there. And get yourself involved in the mix. If I had, like, I remember, like, at nationals, I had to fucking, I was loading and fucking changing, like, heights and whatnot for, like 6 different people as the coach is standing idly by. I'm like, yo, bro, come on, I need your help over here.
You got
And
you got like 220 kilos on the bar. Like the coach steps in, he's like, "Can I get 100 kilos?" And you're like, "Why didn't you ask me before I loaded the bar up?"
I just need an empty bar real quick, if that's
Can
okay.
I just get the empty bar real quick? Like, oh my goodness.
Bro. Like, it's
People just kind of like walking around the warm-up room to like find the weight on the bar that they need.
Right.
They're like, hey, mind if I just step in here real quick?
basic etiquette. Like, and God forbid, they strip the plates off the bars and whatnot after they're done. That doesn't happen. And it's usually me just grabbing 3 plates at a time, dealing with that kind of horse shit. And I'm fucking beat at the end of these fucking meets.
Oh my God,
because of all the shit.
shit.
And I have people like, I actually put the gloves on nowadays. Bro, that's fucking clutch. I'm not even gonna lie. It's such a fucking lifesaver. Having the gloves on and whatnot, it makes it that much easier. Like, your grip is saved. I don't know what it is. Like, you have the gloves on, my back feels fresh at the end of the day. That and 800 milligrams of ibuprofen.
And your hands aren't like black as shit because
Yes.
Yeah, right.
touch the bar inside the plates and all that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that helps out a lot. Just, I don't know. I think coaches need to get their shit together. Athletes, it is what it is. People are going to be out there. They're expecting somebody to handle them, or they're probably brand new to this one. I'm not going to come at them. But if you're a coach and if you're there and you haven't informed yourself as the expectations and maybe, I guess, some of the fucking, like the etiquette that's required to be back there and whatnot, that's on you. You know, I can only imagine what kind of coaching service they're letting to the lifters when I see that shit, and it's usually not good. It's usually the person who has
So
like fucking 12 to 13 warm-ups.
you get what you pay for there.
Yes, yes. But that kind of stuff though. So I think maybe that could probably streamline to some extent, just to make the experience of the
I
lifters and the
agree.
coaches better behind the
I
scenes.
agree.
For now, ultimately, that's icing on the cake. It is what it is. Let's just call
You
it
know,
what it is. It's not mandatory, but
The only con for someone like Yealy is he gets assigned to a warm up platform with 3 people that he has beef with.
well, so what
which
we
would be
did,
okay. I'm tactful.
it's funny you say that, right? Because usually it's one of my guys, Jordan Crandall. He's the one that really kind of pushed me to do it at States. And he's like, well, Carly does it out in Buffalo. You should do it. I'm like, it's because Carly does it doesn't mean that I need to do it. He goes, but it'll make sense. Trust me. He's like, let me do it. So I gave him the roster. I gave him the platform list, who's where.
Jordan's a good dude, man.
Yeah. And he ran with it and he assigned all the people. And I'm like, is everybody going to get along on these platforms? Because that's always a thing. You brought it up, right? He goes, I moved some people around that shouldn't be with people just because I know who they are and it won't be good. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's, but you don't know everybody. And, especially if you're running regionals, you got 12 states of people. You're not going to know everybody.
But if you get someone like Jordan who's plugged into the community enough, he
Well,
has
I think
probably a good idea of people you should keep separate.
yeah, it's a courtesy by him, but I don't think he even needs to do that, to be honest. Because if you're professional, if you're working out there, you have certain expectations. Maybe let's not make fucking scenes at these fucking events.
No,
You know what
I
I mean?
mean you
And
shouldn't be.
I've had issues with people like over the years and so on and so forth, and we're there, like spying alongside each other, and we can conduct ourselves professionally. I have no issue with that.
And then we could take this outside.
We could take it outside.
Let me get my 9 in and then we'll go out.
Man, jiu-jitsu, boxing, you name it, I got you.
Yeah,
baby.
we all saw the stories, Yuli.
Yeah, bro, like that dude is an absolute fucking psychopath. Like, he followed me for no fucking reason out of the fucking blue and shit like that while disliking me with fucking like a shit, with like talk shit about me to other people and so on and so forth. What are you fucking doing right now, bro? Like you're the ultimate cornball. I had to watch him like rupture his fucking like tendons, like doing like basic bullshit, like fucking some like it's a testament to the shit he's on. All the sauce and the fucking aromatase inhibitors and that kind of stupid stuff. So I'm not surprised to see his behavior be as outlandish as it is. And just to see him like out himself as the absolute coward that he ended up being. I don't know. So these things do take place, but I'm not there at events to make that happen. I'm there to handle my lifters and to basically to run to have them go through as professional and as optimal a meet as possible. It's not about me; it's about them.
Exactly.
So that's my whole thing there. I'm there to facilitate for them at whatever capacity I can. My whole thing, Mark. You've seen me. I'm there like to help them out with the mindset, help them cool off, chill out, that kind of stuff, and just take it in stride while making it as thoughtless an exercise as possible. Last thing I want to do is to fucking get involved in any kind of stupid ass drama. And I think anybody that does needs to be ejected from the venue. Simple.
I agree.
That's it. So I appreciate that courtesy. And Jordan, also congratulations on the wedding, by the way. He got hitched, But Jordan is, lends a courtesy, but I don't think it's necessary. You just need to have certain competencies. People, like, no
I
matter
agree.
what, are not going to get along or whatnot. But when they're conducting themselves at a meet, and helping their lifters, that should be the priority.
Yep. Agreed. But people can be petty, and your adrenaline's like at 1,000. And yeah, so that shit does happen, but we like to kind of take it in and make it not happen.
I mean, if you can mitigate it, might as well take the
Exactly. I mean,
measures,
States is always going to be like a 2 platform meet. I don't see us running 3 platforms at States because I don't want to, because that mean I have to bring in my own equipment instead of just backing in a nice 53-foot trailer. So, but I think that, if States ever gets to that point, I don't think I would change anything.
I'd love to
I don't know how
see
I
states get up to 1,000 lifter meet. By the way, if it's possible, I mean, we should do this.
Does New York even have 1,000 lifters?
Oh hell yeah!
1,500
What?
right now?
1,500?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yep. Yeah, I don't want to do that. No. No. You want a 4-day New York State Championship?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, I do.
even the near 400 lifters that did Northeast Regionals, I'm sure that was pretty chaotic. So
Yeah. So I'll drop a little carrot in here. My goal is to run regionals again. The when, I don't know. 2026 already been spoken for. 27, I've got high school nationals, so I don't want to run another big event in and around that same time or that year. So I think maybe it's 28. And at that point in time, the cap center is expanding. They're adding another
Shit.
area across, kind of behind that hotel is next to it. They have that entire building. They're going to make a man bridge that connects the two buildings together. So it's going to be done for high school nationals on 27. So we may hold like maybe something over there, like equipment check, or to kind of get the lay of the land. And because they're offering me some space over there, and we've been the first people to actually use it, which is cool. So that's the you know that's a direction I want to go. Um, and I would right now powerlifting I think is in a little bit of a dip with people, um, based on membership across the board. It's not even just us; it's everywhere. Even though we're holding a lot of meets, I just think that powerlifting in it is in a little bit of a funk right now.
I think it was behind the scenes what we get to see as coaches is all of a sudden like big upticks and people signing up for our rosters. That's
Yeah,
currently happening right now.
it
So
is.
it's about
Okay.
it's about to turn around.
Okay, I mean but we see this all the time. Every couple years. I mean, the most members we ever had was like 34, 36,000. We're tracking like 23, 24,000 right now. So we're behind the curve. We've been progressively been behind the curve the last couple of years. But 2019 was a banner fucking year for us. It's a huge year. But COVID took the wind out of everybody's sails, and it's taken 5 years to climb back up that ladder. And I mean, we didn't stop doing what we do as an organization, but we need the athletes to be there, and to see the amount of people that have still keep emailing me and DMing me about when is registration open for states. I'm like, bro, I don't even have a logo yet. Just chill out. It's like the sanction's signed, but it's like it's in March. You have enough time. It's like they want to get in that meet. They want to get in. We've got a rookie meet in February, and I've people have been hitting me up for that too. Brand new people that never competed. It's like I want to get into powerlifting, or my son is 14, and how young can they be to compete? I'm like, they could be 8. So, but it's if you're seeing a turnaround, I like to hear that, because that means that we can ramp up for the next couple years. And you know 26 could be a big year, 27 could be a even bigger year, and then maybe 28, maybe we were on a 3-day regional and have 750.
That'd be pretty cool.
I would love to see it. I'm definitely seeing it ramping up though. It's reminiscent to what I saw in 2023. Where basically, like, I have people like hitting me up, like I want to say quite often during the week and whatnot, like for coaching, for those kind of questions, inquiries. It's promising. 2023 nationals, I think, was the best nationals. I guess that's
Memphis,
maybe
right?
happened.
In Memphis?
Yeah, yeah.
In
As
Memphis,
far as
yeah.
the turnout and that kind of stuff, the energy and that kind of stuff, despite the fact that the venue wasn't perhaps the best.
In
Memphis,
Memphis.
Memphis is going to Memphis.
Yeah. Go to Beale Street, you'll love it. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit rough, just like, hearing, some of the experiences some people had out there. I heard, like, some people got robbed and blah blah and yada yada. And like that put a damper on some of the things that took place there, because when that happens it kind of stirs.
you take
You know,
that chance going anywhere. You
true,
could be there on vacation.
Yeah,
true, but I
fair.
I
Most
think
people don't know the guy that robbed them. They don't know that they're there for a powerlifting meet. They just
no,
know
of
that they
course
got a
not.
they got a guy that they're gonna stick
Yeah,
up, or a girl, whatever it was. So
Yeah, I do think that there was a narrative. In fact, I do think, but I do know there was a narrative that was being fed to people out there prior to the meet, because it was in Memphis. And I don't
oh
know,
yeah, no, I know.
it's a bit of I don't, bit problematic, like having people, I guess, spin that narrative beforehand. But then when some of those experiences did take place, which is going to take place wherever, whenever, all of a sudden it feeds into that narrative. But either way, so that meet itself, I think at the apex, and I think Eric Cordero's numbers also indicate that, like, just the amount of people, new signups and so on and so forth for powerlifting year 2023 was also at its highest, and in 2024 took a bit of a dip, and then 2025 took a further bit of a dip. I would surmise that 2026 you're going to see an uptick this year. That's what I
I
would think of
can I
from
can
my
tell
end
you what
over
those
here.
numbers are. On 23, at 23 we had 34,000. 24, we were at 31. And right now we're sitting at 24.
And this is with another few months left to go.
Yeah, and usually November we see a bit of an uptick, just because of that, new
The
lifters coming
rollover.
into the sport get that 14 months instead of a normal 12. But that only happens one time for an athlete. So But yeah, I mean, that's the trend. And that was the trend. 2019 was good. COVID, we took a dive. We came back up. We're in a dive again.
They say
We'll
it's about roughly like a 3-year cycle. And in all honesty, it seems to be about a 3-year cycle. From apex to apex.
26 could be, maybe the numbers start going in the black instead of the red. So, maybe we'll look at that.
Well, I know for my own roster and whatnot, I have quite a few people who are signing for the first time right now. Excuse me,
But
and thank you, and who will be registering in November for the memberships. So we have that from a grassroots perspective, that actually taking place, actual phenomena. But also, I'm just sensing the energy kind of shifting positively. Based on the conversation hearing people have and so on and so forth, things seem to be a bit promising. Like one question I had for you is like money meets in USAPL, because I had a conversation with Elliot Sykes, aka Malicious Lifts, out on Instagram. The comment section, boom, boom, and we're talking about, I guess, like signups and that kind of stuff. I think Pete Spence went in there, he chimed in and said, "Oh, the other sources view making a statement that there's more money in USAPL than there is in Powerlifting America." So, like Eric Cordero has like perpetually roasted them on a virtually monthly basis, showing the amount of money that's put into like the sport, like through like athlete payouts from USAPL versus Powerlifting America. And I think this year the Powerlifting America just finally started taking like a big step forward with that through Advances Meet, which took place this weekend. I was nonplussed. I was not impressed at all by what I saw. And then you have the SBD meet as well, which is taking place out on November. So a couple of payouts there, but that's not actually like it's not actually Powerlifting America itself who's doing it. You know what I mean? It's not coming from the
well,
organization.
think about this, right? So the nail you hit right on the head, the Evenkus meet, the SBD meet. Well, maybe we might run a Nike meet. Then the tables are turned, right? The organization pays the athletes. The money doesn't come from, a big sponsor. It comes from, it actually comes from the membership. It's we don't have tens of millions of dollars in the bank. Um, we, as just like any company, you have cycles where you do good, and you can see that, like I just told you, we're in a dip as far as membership is concerned. So, we're holding off on doing some projects simply because we don't have the funds to do them, or we know that, we're working on somewhat of a large project right now, and it's probably a year removed from being anywhere near finished. But the prize pool, just take this year, for example, right? This year, I'm sorry, last year, because we're kind of recovering from last year. Last year, we did the Pro Series final at the Arnold. We're 23. Paid out 120, 30, $40,000, whatever it happened to be. We also gave out money at every of our national meets, minus youth nationals, every one of them. You can go back and look at Eric's posts on that. Then we did the Pro Series finals for 24 in December. We paid out again another $100,000+. So in the course of 1 year, we paid out over $300,000 in prize pool money to the Pro Series. So to the people saying that we're not paying our athletes, they're dead fucking wrong. Last year hurt a lot, and this year we our payouts. We're not doing a Pro Series finals. The Pro Series, for all intents and purposes, the actual series itself was on life support. It is officially dead and buried. We have pro athletes. So we are gonna, everybody that was a pro is still a pro. That is not going away. They get special treatment. They get first dibs on getting in meets. They're going to get personal invites to the Arnold. They're going to get invites to Raw Nationals, Equipment Nationals, Masters Nationals, whatever the case may be. They also are going to be able to have some perks from some of our other things that are yet to be announced, but that are privy to them. And like the roster of the points and all that stuff, it's coming down. We're not. We want the athletes to be a pro athlete and get recognized as a pro athlete. And the series itself, while it was somewhat cool, to have it change every year wasn't a good model, obviously. And I think the writing was on the wall when we paid out twice in 1 year. We're like, this is a bad business decision to make. So what we decided to do for 25 was we're going to increase the payouts for our national events mush, make them heavier, and then the Pro Series Finals itself is gone. So ultimately, your Pro Series champion would be those athletes that won their first place and so on down the line for the weight classes and all of that. So this is probably inevitable, and it was going to happen no matter what. It was just a matter of when.
So will there be no payouts for the Pro Series final this year?
There is no Pro Series Finals. There is no Pro Series Final. Yeah, the
So
Pro
so are there
Series
any
itself is
payouts?
not the Pro Series.
Are there any finals? Or any payouts being given at all at the Arnold this year?
But yeah, the Arnold, yes,
Okay,
but it's a pro event, but it's not a Pro Series. The Pro Series is
gotcha. The series is
no
done.
longer. Yeah.
So the
Yep.
pro event itself. So
Yep.
look at the numbers here. That's what I was going through right now. For the 2023 Pro Series final, this is the Raw Pro Series finals, 83,000. For 2024, 65,000. For the 2024 Equipped finals, it was 24,500. So they increased the amount there versus 2023. It was less than that. It was 14,000. So kind of over $100,000 in 2024, which is put into payouts over here for the Pro Series finals. And that's just those two series. Comparatively, I'm looking at the list here and I'm seeing
No, that
AMP.
was the events, Yuli. Those are the events, not the finals. The finals has its own payout.
Yes. Oh,
Has
I'm
its own
seeing
payout.
the Raw Pro Series final. Do we had the actual final itself?
Oh,
I
are you
see.
talking on the Arnold?
Yes.
I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah. And then you also had the Raw Bench Pro Series final.
Yep.
And then the equipped bench pro series final. So there's a whole lot of things here that which you'll see payouts. And then you have the Raw Masters bench finals, and then the Quip Masters bench finals. There's the payouts here through the roof. I'm looking at this is also for 2024. Again, these numbers are a little bit outdated, but last in 2024 you had for the payouts for AMP because they were saying in the comment section that AMP has quite a few payouts and so on and so forth. The SPD Rally had 12,000. And then they had the Pro Duel, which at 2,500, and then the 713 Liftoff, which at 2,000. So look at 12,000 plus 2,500, 14,500, which is $16,500 the entire calendar year of 2024, as far as payouts are concerned from Powerlifting America, versus USAPL doing that at one meet, one division of a meet at Arnold's in 2024 at the Equipped Pro Series final. Equipped, mind you.
I gave out
So
$6,000 at New York State primetime this year.
yes, I know, bro. Like it's like half their budget. And again, this is, the SBD rally. That's SBD doing that. It's not Powerlifting America
Are you
doing it.
saying rally, like rally or Raleigh?
Either whichever way
And
is
I
the
know
most
what you're doing
Oh,
incorrect.
right
here,
now.
here we go again.
Rally, let's go.
Yeah, like whatever the incorrect way to pronounce it is and whatnot, I'll
Rally is
pronounce it
the
that way.
correct way to pronounce it.
It is Raleigh.
Rally.
It's Raleigh.
Okay, so rally it is. Um, no disrespect to the people who actually have, some common sense out over there, and whatnot, but to the people who get butthurt
That's a
about
nice area, actually,
mispronunciations.
in North Carolina.
I can imagine. Like North Carolina doesn't seem too bad. I passed by there; it's very pretty. It's pretty nice. Yeah. So I don't understand how this information is being put out there. Like it's a patent disinformation. And to go sources, please. I'm like, bro, like what are you talking about? The numbers are here to see. They're playing for everybody to see. Like let's just get to the USAPLs, like nationals payouts, like for the records alone, and so on and so forth. It's delusional. It's this bad faith shit that happens behind the scenes in the comment sections and in the DMs and so on and so forth, which leads people astray. Like I like Elliot Sykes. I like how his lifts and so on and so forth, his attitude, his demeanor, but clearly, dude has been fed a line. And it's insane to see this. Like people living in alternate reality over here. Where the fact of the matter is that at Raw Nationals, I was doing some number crunching and I projected that USAPL meets somewhere around in the hundreds of thousands, and that I think surpasses the entire income of Powerlifting America through the entire calendar year.
You want to know
You
what our
know
production, just the production cost for Raw Nationals this year?
how much
Over 100K.
that is
Sounds
wild.
about right.
Yeah, yeah.
So when anybody, you're not. Yes, we're in this to make money, right? But
Obviously, you have to keep the lights on,
right,
literally.
and they got to pay me, So, but the overall thought from people is that, oh well, it's all about the money for USA Powerlifting. Well, it is, but you also saw the production that we put on, and the production was half of what we brought in for entries for the meet. that's absolutely insane to think that, we're USA Powerlifting is like, I've heard this in the past. They're pocketing all that money. Oh yeah, we're pocketing like, maybe the 10 or 15, $20,000 that we really took as profit. I'm just using numbers there, but
Ultimately,
and
but the question is this: what business is it of theirs that people are being compensated for the
it
work they're
isn't.
putting in?
Yeah, I don't
When you
see the issue with people being compensated,
no, of course not.
and arguably USA Powerlifting puts on the best production of all powerlifting federations right now.
Yes, I wouldn't say
So,
arguably. It's
yeah,
objectively.
if you want that level of production at these meets, it costs money,
Yes, and it has to come from
you know?
somewhere.
And it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah,
You
and I
know?
also
So like
look.
I see people complaining about, registration fees, which aren't even that much higher than they typically are, but it's like, you want these high levels of productions at these meets, it's going to cost a little more to go to them. And that should be, you should be okay with that, you
Yeah,
know?
of course. I mean, and you look at the difference there. You see what happens from having that budget, from being the greedy federation you are. Both Powerlifting America and USAPL had their nationals at the exact same convention center. Like legitimately the exact same event center. I saw a Powerlifting America's like meet, and it looked like it was like it was the back of some like like a Soviet gulag. I'm like, what is going on right now? It was like so depressing. Like seeing every like just it was drab and everything. And I'm like, what is going on? Like credit to the people, I guess, who ran the technical like aspects and did what they did behind the scenes. Like they did the best that they could. I mean, they had a pretty polished presentation there when they weren't making mistakes and forgetting who top 10 actually was. But you compare that to USAPL's nationals, and it's night and day. The displays, the screens, how everything's done, the emceeing, and just the presentation itself is very polished. It looks like an actual sport, as instead of some like backyard federation over here, which is a testament to the fact that Powerlifting America doesn't have that budget, and frankly, they can't have that budget right now because they don't have the membership. They could talk like a big game as much as they want to. They have the biggest lifters and so on and so forth. They get all these likes on Instagram. Oh, fantastic. But lo and behold, they have to get bailed out of a fucking meet.
Likes on
Which
Instagram won't pay for a high
it
caliber
doesn't.
national level meet.
It doesn't. And we love to see people run fantastic meets and whatnot. But if they're a little bit more realistic about where they're at, and a little bit less delusional, and a little bit less, I want to say, um, propaganda, driven, in the comments and the DMs and so on and so forth. I'd be a little bit more well disposed towards them. But I see the shit that's happening here. It's a dirty game that they run. It's not based on reality. Like they're fighting for
Proof's in the
existence for
pudding,
fuck's
man.
sake. Yeah, exactly. And you see it. But the powerlifting is driven by younger lifters, like every sport is by younger members. And unfortunately, they fall for the cloud hype. They fall for like what people tell them about, like, oh, look, this big lifter's over here and so on and so forth, as opposed to actually looking at the presentation. Which meet would you rather prefer to lift at? One where there are like mistakes taking place and spotting and loading over and over and over again with drab lighting and platforms and so on and so forth, or someplace out of here which is well run, well oiled machine. Because frankly, if you're not in a position to take first to fifth place at Powerlifting America at nationals, you're doing yourself a disservice. There's less meets. The meets that are run are run more poorly. You're looking basically less of a prize pool and so on and so forth. So why are you going over that federation? Like, well, how does that help you out? Like, objectively speaking, and it just I can't reconcile it. And you see people basically who take first to nationals all of a sudden going over to Powerlifting America to take what, eighth, ninth place, or to pop positive like Juice Edwards did. These things didn't take place. That was insane to see, by the way. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
What? I had a question. Yes, it wasn't a question, it was a statement. So going back to like the barrier for entry, the money, right? I see a lot of events. It really depends on where you are, but there's some state events in USA Powerlifting that cost as much as our nationals do to enter. And I think that's
Yeah, they are expensive.
crazy to me.
Yeah, so I saw recently one of our lifters was telling us about one of the meets he wants to sign up to in San Francisco. Mark, what was the cost? It was $185 for the meet, I think.
It was
185
160.
for a local meet.
Well, gas
A
is
buck
$5
60 for
out
local.
there, though.
Well, yeah, but it's like a recurring theme now. I'm seeing the price of their meats go up all across the board from what I've seen. Maybe there's some place where that doesn't where it's not representative and whatnot, but I have seen it happen. So my question now, where's that money going into? Is it going to fill up the coffers and so on and so forth? And now we're talking about greedy entities and so on and so forth. Is this not greedy? Increasing the prices to such a high amount?
I've always made our events not. I tier them based on the type of event it is. The rookie ruckus is our our lowest barrier for entry. It's a little bit over $100. I mean, shit. I remember when registration was 60, $70, but you know, meets back in 2015 aren't what they are now.
True, true, true.
And
So I'm only
you
pausing that.
know,
No, like
it's
I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I'm only pausing the argument because like now you see that it's a bad faith argument. If people are talking about like you guys pocketing money over here, but
right,
you
right,
see for
right.
local meets we're now charging $1.60.
Same people that are paying that to go
Yes,
compete at the local level
yes,
and
yes.
or a state meet, and you're like, oh, man, USA Powerlifting raised their fee $11. Oh, okay, $10. All
I don't know
right,
if you ask me, I think meats on the price should go up, and you're right because people are so used to 2015 prices. Like $100 per meat or like $85 per meet. It's 2025. The price of productions is up whatnot. We're no longer backyard sport whatnot. We're evolving, and what happens now is if you want to have a good meet, and let's just say you spend 12 months out of the calendar year training for this meet, and you go out there, it's an underwhelming meet because they're understaffed, the people are not motivated to work, and so on and so forth. What did you just do there? You end up like fucking
Go
with
do a meet in a CrossFit gym. You can warm
yes,
up with a multi-purpose bar and bumper plates and a fucking power rack,
yeah,
and it's not going to be the best experience.
yeah. But I'd say now you bump it up. Now you spend $200 instead of $100, which is you effectively double the price. But you have a phenomenal meet. The people over there like give a shit. People over there like are driven to doing the jobs. You have like fucking all the plates you need. The warm area is fantastic. Is it not worth it? And I think it's absolutely worth it. I dare say, like powerlifting meets should be $250 per sign up and whatnot. Because if you're working like a whole year towards that, and you average it out, it comes out to like what, like 20, less than $20 a month that you're basically putting aside to make that happen. Like, come on. Look. You're buying fucking SBD belts and you're complaining about fucking signing up to a meet over here for 200 for that costs you $200. Like, it's
it's
what are your
absolutely,
priorities?
yeah, it's bewildering to me that, and people will email me. I wouldn't say all the time, but it happened enough. Like, oh, what kind of bar you're using? What kind of bench pad?
I've
What
done that. I've
kilos?
sent you emails like that. I have.
Yeah, but it's like doesn't matter. Get stronger. When I started competing, you had a bar. You were lucky. You probably weren't even lucky enough to have kilos in your gym, and you warmed up with everybody else, and you trained with pound plates, and you learned to deal with it. And then when you actually got to pull on something that is a stiff bar and kilos, you're like, man, that 500 flew in the gym, but it felt like complete trash
Yeah.
today, you know? So yeah, it's way different. And, we have the luxury now because of, well, I mean, thank you, China, for creating this open market where we can just buy plates at the ready, even though they're crazy expensive right now. And any decent gym has kilos that you can lift on at any given time, And there was a time when ABC Sports and Fitness did not have any kilos at all. And then we got a set, and then we got a little bit more, and now there's 4 or 5 sets at ABC Iron.
You'd
You
love to
know,
see it.
that's
It's
the
funny because
evolution.
Soph and I were talking about this the other day because I was at a meet last weekend and they had a great setup. They had combo racks in the warm up room, but they had good bars in the warm up, but they had all pound plates, right? And I kind of mentioned it. I mean, and it's funny because I mentioned the CrossFit gym with multi-purpose bars and bumper plates. That's how I started. I did meets in like high school gymnasiums that you brought in a couple power racks and some bumper plates, and that's what you were squatting with. But like Soph and I were talking about this the other day, and I was like, I said the warm up room was great. I said I just wish they had some kilo plates, and she was like, stuck her nose, and she's like, you're so spoiled. She's like, I remember doing meets in 2014, 2015 with the, the multi and the bumper plates and this and that. I go, listen, if I have to warm up on shitty equipment, I absolutely will. but I go, the difference in how that feels on your back, especially with deadlifts or something like that. And then you go out to the platform and you unrack a stiff bar with kilo plates. It is just such a large discrepancy. It feels so different. And it's like, it's just nice. Yeah. We have the luxury now where, most gyms have all these great setups, and it makes a smooth transition from the warm up room to the platform. And when
But yeah,
you don't have that, it's noticeably different at this point, especially if you're training in a gym that, you have all the proper competition standard equipment, and then you go in, you have to warm up with something that's not that. And then it's just, it makes for a rougher transition to the platform. Not to say that you can't do it, but it is nice to have all the proper equipment.
I
Yes.
will say that the people that compete at our rookie meet, they are entirely spoiled because they are coming into their first competition and they're going to be warming up on ER equipment and kilos and a Rogue OPB or something along the likes of that, you know? So they're already coming into their first competition and they're already getting that taste in their mouth of, oh, this is different, you know? Hopefully they've trained with it before, but to go and use it for your first meet and then be able to warm up on it, that's what the hope is, that you spark that eternal flame that I'm powerlifting for life. Most of the time it doesn't work that way. They're in it for 2 years and they're out. But you know, that's what I would like to see happen, is them like catch the bug like I did, and I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere.
True. No, no, no. Actually, going back to your point about the 1 or 2 years of like trend with powerlifting, whatever, for new lifters, I've thought about it quite a bit. I've looked into other sports and also referred back to some of my experiences. I want to say it's true for fucking everything. You
I'm
know,
Yeah.
sure. I'm
people
sure.
who get bit by the running bug, who are there for like a year or two doing it, and all of a sudden they're gone. I
Yeah, their
remember
knees
martial
get all
arts.
jacked up, their back
Yeah,
starts hurting. Like,
bro.
what
When I
I'm
was
happened?
I'm
in,
sure that
Hip?
CrossFit, weightlifting, I'm sure like any recreational sport that you do as an
well,
adult,
it's true,
like,
it's true everywhere. Like like even martial arts. I remember back in the day, like having
yeah.
people sign up and whatnot, like in like first black belt taekwondo, whatever. And I'd see people there for a while, like looked at their potential, and then all of a sudden they would just quit. Quit the sport. They got busy, whatever the case happens to be. They just like,
Yep.
fall back into the habit. Jiu-jitsu, the same shit took place. Remember doing boxing as well, like during COVID and whatnot, seeing people sign up for this, the classes like this one to the fire department. Mike Reno used to like run like remotely, would be there for like a couple weeks, and all of a sudden would disappear. So it's a common phenomenon. It happens. Retention is something that I guess we could try to work on. I think maybe it happens at those first meets, but we're expecting for longevity and whatnot. For some people, it'll take, and other people just won't take. There's nothing you can
Yeah.
really do to
I
impact
think
that.
I don't think the level of production, the equipment, whatever the case is, there are just some people that aren't going to stick with it. I'm sure that's due to a lot of factors outside of their meet experience.
Yeah, people live lives, man. I mean, shit happens. Things happen to family members, work, and so on and so forth. You get lost in the mix, and you lose that habit for a little bit. You develop another habit. Maybe you go from running to like something like fucking pickleball. Blech. Excuse me, I'm just almost threw
Hey
up right
man,
now.
let me tell you,
Fuck, I hate pickleball.
there is
People
this
love the
guy.
pickleball.
They do. There is this guy. I'm not going to mention the name because it's not important. But his wife plays pickleball every day, and he's like, you need to get involved in this and run pickleball meets. You think you make money doing powerlifting? I said, I don't make money doing powerlifting. I get paid by USA Powerlifting. I have a job. I'm not making six-figure salary running events. I'm lucky if we pull a profit on an event. I'm happy if we pull a profit on an event.
He's absolutely not wrong, by the way. I was back in 2021. I was about to join a partnership at a multi-million-dollar gym enterprise, and I was going to do the whole powerlifting thing and so on and so forth, do all that kind of stuff. And what prevented it from actually happening was the advent of pickleball and the fact that it is insanely fucking profitable.
Yeah.
It turns out that the cross section demographic of people who participate in pickleball are washed up people with like high school dreams of like being sports stars and so on and so forth, you know, who are in their 40s to 50s and very well off financially. So you're going to make money doing pickleball, and your pickleball meets, they're not 150 bucks. Like you're looking at a shit ton of fucking money being put into that. Like registrations like fucking like $400, $500 and whatnot. Some
What?
places out of it here. Yeah. Awesome. Crazy shit. The numbers are ridiculous. And then you let lease out the courts to people as opposed to having gym members in your gym, whatever, however many dollars per square foot you can make with pickleball. It's through the fucking roof. And it makes no sense to me that it's growing the way that it is. It is no disrespect to people that actually participate in it. I say a whole lot of things tongue in cheek, but it is a pathetic fucking sport. I'm like, what are you doing right now? This is like fucking. This is like a lazy man's tennis over here. This is exactly what this is. You're stationary in this position. I can't. I really can't. I can't
A
tolerate it.
related story to that, when So after regionals happened, I went on a cruise and we came back and we stayed in Seattle for a couple days. And we went, I forget what day it was, Sunday. I think we went to one of the barrier islands that's in the inlet where across from Seattle. And I can't remember the name of the island now, but we walked into the store and I see pickleball rackets there and pickleballs and shirts that say birthplace of pickleball. I'm like, what? Yeah. So uh, I guess the sport was, it came out in like the 60s in this island, it's Barrier Island off of the coast of Seattle. And it's been there forever. And people go there, they flock there in the summertime to go
My
and play
God.
pickleball.
Like the
Yeah,
mecca of pickleball. Oh,
right, exactly.
Lord.
Because it's like I'm going to the birthplace of pickleball. So I took a
Oh, I hope a
picture of
tsunami just fucking hits that island and wipes it off the map altogether. You know, that's it.
so I took a picture of the racket and it, it had the birthplace of it, and I sent it to that guy, and he's like, "Are you still thinking about doing the pickleball thing?" I'm like, "Stop asking me. I am way too busy with other things to do this."
It is financially lucrative. I should, I saw the numbers, and bro, it makes no sense. It's fucking absurd. It's obscene numbers being put around and whatnot. It's like I want to say like tennis numbers, but somehow better. Just like people show up there, they're not worried about like fucking rupturing tendons and that kind of stuff. You're like slapping
No,
the stick around, bro.
it's
It's
absolute
and
bananas.
it would be Seattle. Like, isn't Seattle also like the birthplace of hacky sack?
That sounds very grungy to me. So you're probably not no, you're probably not wrong there. What the hell is the name of that? Damn it, it's kind of bugging now.
That's it. I'm switching to strength and conditioning for pickleball.
There you go. It's basically
DM for coaching pickleball players if you're listening.
Cambridge Island.
Cambridge Island, Bainbridge,
B
Bainbridge.
Island. Yep,
Interesting. It's a Bainbridge in the Bronx I used to live on. That's crazy. Bainbridge.
absolute
It's the bane.
bananas.
That island is the bane of powerlifting.
It's so funny.
But I'll be
Yeah,
here all week.
there was this. It was really kind of like an ironic thing because we had just talked. He was at regionals and we are talking about it, and then to go there and see that, I'm like, holy shit, this is really weird. It's like it's following me now.
Yeah, pickleball falls for damn sure. It's been following me since 2021.
Yeah,
The externals of my lifters.
the powerlifting to pickleball pipeline.
Yeah, bro. Like it used to be just jujitsu, and now it's changed. This
Well,
is weird shit.
pickleball's easier,
You have pickleball. Now you have running. You
less
have
risky.
golf. Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
I did the golf thing. I'm over golf.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of golf. I don't know, like the entire like premise of like having large swaths of area like taken over and turned to fucking lawn. Just it's so I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
Very well manicured lawn, by the way.
Very well manicured, like to a fault.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah. So what's if I may ask to go back, I guess, to the main topic itself, meats and so on and so forth. But the Arnold is on the horizon. All right, it's going to take place soon. Do we know when the registrations are going to open up yet?
So we're gonna send out invites at probably the middle to later part of November, and we're planning on opening them up to those are gonna go to the pros. So those are gonna go out and they're gonna open up first. I think it's can't remember if it's December 1st. I think it's December 1st for some of the events. We're gonna stagger things so that we're not getting hit all at once with all these things. The Raw challenge is kind of come first and get it done. As long as you have the dots numbers to get in. Invites for let me see. Actually, no, I take it back. The Raw Challenge will be open first for invites and then filling in from after with everybody else. Same thing with the master stuff. Then the invites for this is the other thing. The um, Battle of the Reasons will go out around the same time because that's basically a closed group. That's an invite only event.
Oh,
So
wow, look at this! Holy shit! First I hear of it. Battle of the Regions.
yeah, the top 6 male, top 6 female across the board raw equipped will get an invite to the Battle of the Regions, and that is going to be on Sunday at the Arnold.
oh, yeah.
So that's pretty damn cool.
Don't you remember when we did it in 2019? That was the first year we did it, and then we never did it again.
Like
And then
I don't remember. No.
I love the
yeah,
idea. I mean, it
well,
adds more, I guess, like importance to the whole regionals meet.
exactly. And the goal was, and I kind of pushed for
Be right
this
back.
year, is to bring that thing back so that we could actually have, like the focus, like you just alluded to, have the focus on those regionals winners or what regionals winners, I guess, because they probably won something based on their dots. And those people are the ones that are going to go and compete against other people in other regions for that. I'm the I'm the overall regional champion, national regional champion, whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
No, that's still cool though. Just the concept of it, you know?
And we, like I said, we ran it one year, we never did it again, and people have they've asked for it every year, and it's like we're looking for something new, not new, but something different at the Arnold because unfortunately, equip lifting just isn't pulling its weight. So when you invite 150 people and 50 people sign up, it's kind of it's not a good look. So we want to make sure that we have a full meet or as close to full as we can be. So we're doing that on Sunday as well as we're going to do the empowered. We're running the empowered nationals for all of our Special Olympics athletes. And well, they don't need to be a Special Olympian, but they can, any athlete with a developmental disability will be able to compete at that. So we're gonna look at all of the people that compete in that division in USA Powerlifting for the last 2 years, so 25 and 24, and also we're going to allow people that have competed in like their own state games around the country that if they want to send a person or a team, they can do that.
Very cool.
Yep. We're trying to amass that information right now because they have a system that the Special Olympics uses to track their athletes. I don't know if it's like nationwide. I assume it is, but so we're looking at trying to get that information or give the ability for them to pass it on to those people so that they could actually pass it on to the athletes and so on and so forth. And then we're also going to be running, I don't know if this is going to be the official name, but we're running the Adaptive Open, which is for all of our adaptive athletes. So at the beginning of our conversation, we kind of started talking about that. So now we're going to give them a platform for which to compete on at the Arnold. So to drive, our inclusion message that, we don't care, if you have an inability or a developmental disability or anything along those lines. We want to make sure that, you have an adequate platform for which to compete on, and that's the Arnold people, when we brought that up to them, they're like, we love this so much. Yes, please do this because they want to bring other types of people to their events. And I think that is probably going to be even though it's on Sunday, it's probably going to be one of the coolest things that we're going to have simply because those athletes and anybody that has competed, if you've ever been to like a Special Olympics powerlifting meet or any Special Olympics event, it's like it pulls at your heartstrings because you
It's so
love to
cool.
see them
Yeah.
compete,
I've spotted it because Gleason's run a few. And I've spotted and loaded for some of those Special Olympic meets, and you're absolutely correct.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
very
am
cool.
involved heavily with the New York chapter. As a matter of fact, because I'm a glutton for punishment, on November 2nd, we're actually running a qualifier for their state games for some of the local teams so that they can come and compete at our
Wow,
gym. Yeah. So not only am I running Southeast regionals, November 2nd, I got the little regional meet for the Special Olympics people, and then the big thing on 7th, 8th, and 9th of November. And then I'm officially done for the year because I need some time off to just
yeah,
but I think that I mean that's kind of the Arnold schedule right now. We may do another event. We're waiting to hear back from the Arnold people about a location, but so there may be something else coming, but I'm not. We don't know because they're like everybody else are just slow in getting back to us. So hopefully we can run it. I think it'll be pretty cool. I would like to see. We have the master stuff on Friday, so that's bench and free lift, and then a raw challenge on Sunday, male and female. Then Battle of the Regions on Sunday morning, and then in the afternoon, we're going to run those two events. They're going to be running simultaneously on one platform each, so that we can kind of hammer through them. But
that's really
I think
cool.
it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I'll be out there. So
It's Arnold's always, it's always one of those events. Like I dread it so much, but I love it because I mean we're literally running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 meets in 3 days.
Yeah, that's going to be
And
pretty
it's just,
crazy.
it's a lot of balls to juggle, you know?
And then you'll have New York States a few weeks later. So
Uh,
Yep. That's, I think, we've never hit I don't know, did we ever hit 300? We had 275 this year. I think it's 300 right now because we're adding a session on Friday and I'm only keeping it 2 platforms. But this will let us run we won't have any like pre-flight sessions. And I hate those things. I know people hate them, but sometimes it's like you have to do it. And I would rather leave at 7, 8 o'clock than be there till 9 or later, and
yeah,
just enjoy my evening and not have to immediately go to bed and get up in 5 hours. That's the goal, anyways.
yeah,
But
fair.
uh, knowing that we're going to be upstairs with 2 other events going on, still kind of figuring out how to position where we're going to, how it's going to be set up. I still kind of, it's not on my radar right now. Once I put all these meets to bed for this year, that's the next thing to work on. But for me, anyways,
I have high expectations just the same. I can imagine it's gonna be, I guess, like very well run, just the way it has been for the past 5, 6, 7 years.
I
So I'm
expect
looking
it'll
forward to that.
be the same caliber. It just won't be like, the room won't be as dark because I can't turn the lights off on CrossFit people. They probably won't like that.
Yeah,
You
fair
know,
enough.
strong man. I mean, we can segment the lighting a little bit. So potentially we could, the warm. So if you figure where the warm up, well, at States this year, at regional, sorry, that space behind the platform and maybe up to maybe the platforms to the wall, that would be the space that we would have for powerlifting. And then there would be another third and then another third. I mean, so warm ups will be downstairs. Sorry, but we won't have the space to do warm ups upstairs. So that small room downstairs that we utilize for like woman check and weigh ins, that'll be the warm up room. So that's where that'll be downstairs. But that's kind of, that's, we have to do that just for space, and CrossFit people don't need warm up area. Strongman, they don't need a warm up area. All their stuff is kind of right there. They could just do it all right there.
Interesting. Looking forward to it. Like, I mean, it's gonna make for
Yeah,
just a
that'll be
larger
cool.
audience. I'm curious to see how this evolves over the years. There are quite a few different
Same.
niches, I guess, which could show up to this and whatnot. Not least, which to be honest, in the back of my mind, I'm actually thinking like, like I know strength sports and so on and so, but you could have like different facets like esports, like you have trading card community, that kind of stuff, like all kinds of people, I guess, like showing up to this kind of stuff, and there's a whole lot of overlap. Powerlifting's very nerdy.
But yeah, but now we're exposing people that potentially, I mean, CrossFit people know powerlifting people, right? So we know each other. Strongman, we know each other because we lived in the same gym. Esports people, they may not know what the heck we do. They probably know CrossFit just because it's like, it's it's a brand.
Yeah, I remember when we were in Salt Lake, there was I think an esport competition
Across the
going on,
hall.
wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they yelled
remember
at us more.
Yili when we were in the Starbucks, we
Yeah,
met that kid, he was telling us how much money he made.
yeah, bro, insane.
Yeah, and you were like, I think I'm gonna switch. So so you could switch to esports, I'll switch to pickleball, strength and conditioning.
There you go. Make
We'll
it
do
happen.
But
powerlifting on the side.
but it was cool to see just how many powerlifters were going to the esports hall and just like
Yeah.
watch it going on. So there's definitely interest from this
Yeah, it was
and
very
going to
cool.
that
Like
end,
it seemed really cool.
you know.
It's
But
definitely a different vibe, though.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a very different vibe, but I think it could work. To be honest, I mean, like if you look at people basically in powerlifting who aren't into powerlifting, but wouldn't necessarily show up, I guess, just for the powerlifting meet, but they have other reasons to show up there for.
Oh yeah.
Now you have more people there. More
Yep.
spec, more like more tickets are sold, yada yada. That's how I'm thinking about it. Like from a
That's the
business
goal.
perspective.
That's the
You know,
goal.
so I can imagine that would work. But dude, I think this about wraps it up. You know, a great conversation per usual. Thank you for joining us, Jan. Looking forward to seeing what happens in next coming months, coming years, and so on and so forth with the productions that you put together and the meets that you've been running. Looking forward to seeing you out the Southeast Regionals. That's gonna be a great time. I'm
Likewise.
hoping to see some crazy shit happen.
Cool. Love talking to you guys. Anytime.
So, Jan, where can the audience reach out to you at? Where, like, what are your socials?
You can hit me up on Bent Bar. So Bent Bar Powerlifting is Bent Bar PL on Instagram, on YouTube, all that, all the socials. Me personally, I don't follow a lot of people back unless I really know you, but it's my name, Jan Daurio on Instagram. I made it real easy. But if I don't follow you back, it's nothing personal.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks. Thank you guys for joining in. Like, comment, subscribe, show some love, roast away. Thank you for tuning in.
Take
Peace.
care.